Hey, what's up? This is Nick with Notetracks. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can use Notetracks Pro as a mixing or mastering engineer to get time-coded feedback from artists and clients to speed up your workflow and keep everything in one place. To get started here on your Notetracks dashboard, we're going to create a new project, and today I'm going to call it the name of the mix that we're going to be taking a look at from a band called Cherry, and the song is called Nowhere to Hide. So I'm going to create a new project. And as you'll see, we're going to end up here with just a blank slate. The first thing we're going to do after we create this project is add a track. So we're going to add in a mix that we're working on today into this project to share with the artist. So you can either do that by clicking on this Add Track button that's here at the top, and you can drag and drop your audio files into here, or I know some mixing and mastering engineers like to keep things a little bit more organized in Dropbox or Google Drive. You can also connect both of those accounts directly here to your Notetracks account so that you can import mixes and masters from those as well. But for today, I'm going to exit out of that, and I'm just going to drag our WAV file directly here into the project. Now, for my own personal preferences, when I'm looking at a mix here in Notetracks, the first thing I like to do is zoom out. This bar right here lets you zoom in and zoom out. I like to be able to see the full length of the track, and we're just going to move it from the default there to a fully zoomed out mix so that we can see the whole length of the track. Now, I'm going to hit play here at the top. All your standard transport controls are available. Obviously, play, rewind, fast forward, skip ahead, skip forward, and then here's a loop function that we're going to talk about when we jump over to the artist's perspective when they're actually leaving feedback on this track for us to take a look at. So let's take a listen to a little bit of the track, and I'm going to leave some notes for the artist before we send this over to them, so that they know kind of where my head's at with this mix and what we're thinking about moving into mix 2 before they start taking notes. All right, so we can see it's a pretty simple intro, and I'm going to make a note about that here in just a sec. And then we have our chorus. Cool, that's a fun song. So I'm going to just jump right back here to the beginning of this song. You can move the playhead around by clicking anywhere here in the timecode bar here at the top, or by clicking on the track. I'm going to leave a comment just here at the very beginning of the song for a couple things that I want the artists to know about before they take a listen to this and start giving some feedback. So I can either do that by clicking here on New Comment, which is one way to do it, or you can double click here on the WAV file as well to leave a comment. So for now, I'm just going to click on New Comment, and we'll double click and show that off a little bit later. So here are some things that I want to have in mind while you listen. So the first note that we're going to make is the demo included a vocal chop in the intro. Did you cut that before sending stems? So that's the first thing. The vocal chop was in there that the artist had sent over in some stems, and as we were going through this mix, we obviously didn't include it because the stem wasn't there. So I want to make sure that that was a conscious decision from the artist. And the second thing is there was a sub bass playing when you sent the stems in the chorus. I decided to lower the volume of that and replace it with a different synth. So these are two small notes that we're going to leave here for the artist to check out. I just hit enter to leave that comment there for them. And these are some things that they're going to have obviously in mind while they take a listen. So I think we're probably at a good point here now. We've left some feedback for the artist. I want them to now jump in here, take a listen, and how we're going to do that is use this big green Share Project button at the top. There are two ways now for us to share this project. One is by copying a link, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. This you can obviously just pop into an email or a WhatsApp thread, or however people are listening on their computer. But today I actually know the artist's email address, and we're just going to type it in there as well. And I'm going to give them editing permissions on this. This means that they can bring in more files of their own. They can share the project with other people. This kind of gives them full access. So we're going to go ahead and hit send and then jump over to the artist perspective to see what things look like on their end. As soon as I hit send, they're going to get notified via email that there is a mix waiting for them with some feedback on it from us, and they're going to log in and take a look at it. All right, now we are here on the artist side of things. Now, the first thing I want to draw attention to on the artist side is that the artist received an email letting them know that there's feedback for them, there's a mix for them to review. If an artist or a client that you're working with does not yet have a Notetracks account, when they click the link, they'll be prompted to create an account with Notetracks. Now, a question that we get asked a lot is, do they also have to have a paid Notetracks Pro account in order to interact and review some of the projects that we're sending back and forth? And the answer is no. The only time that you would need a paid Notetracks account is if you're trying to create projects of your own and share them with other people. So you can share these projects with as many artists as you want. They're not going to have to sign up to pay or anything like that unless they want to start using Notetracks on their own. So they'll always be there available to leave feedback and access the mixes that you share with them. So as soon as they hit their dashboard, they're going to see, Kristen can now see that there is this project, Cherry, Nowhere to Hide. That's that mix that we were just working on. Click into it and hear what's going on. All right, so because we are in this project at the same time, here at the top of the project, it will show who else is currently collaborating. So just like a Google Doc, Notetracks shows you who is currently working on a track. And so as the feedback gets left by Kristen, if you still have Notetracks open on your end, which we'll see here in a sec, you'll be able to just start addressing that feedback and get them over a second mix all in real time without refreshing the project or the page or anything like that. So this is really cool for collaborating in real time. All right, so the artist is in here. They can see that we left some feedback for them before they listen. Again, I'm going to drag that slider out so that we get a full picture of this mix. Before I jump into listening and giving feedback here as an artist, some things that might be helpful are these tools down here, these stamps, drawings, and text. As an artist, sometimes it's helpful to keep things organized, to leave some tags and markers here as we're going so that we can just keep an eye out for different sections and so that we're all on the same page as far as naming convention goes, because I know sometimes what some people refer to as the chorus could be somebody else's post-chorus. So we have these kind of free-form tags in here to make organization a little bit easier. So we're going to add an intro. We know that the verse is over here and the chorus. We can also add in some stamps and tags such as vocal, which I think was actually mentioned up here. So we'll just put the vocal there. And then we're also going to include this piano here in the chorus. All right, so for the interest of time, let's assume that the artist has listened through this mix and they're going to start leaving some feedback for you to address. So the first thing they do is they want to make a note here. You had asked about this vocal chop that was in the intro. Yep, I cut the vocal chop out of the intro. I think it sounds better. Do you? All right, so that's the first comment, and then we put that piano over here. So something that I wanted to draw attention to now as the artist is going to be, can we bring up the piano and keys overall in this chorus? I think it will help it sound bigger. All right, so we've left some notes now as an artist to address some of the things that you noticed as a mix engineer and some other quick changes that we can make to this mix before shipping it off and calling it done. Now, the last feature that I want to draw attention to on the artist side that I think is pretty cool is, in addition to kind of these pre-made stamps and stuff, there is also the ability to draw. So a good use for this, in my experience, is I like to use notes such as this. So this is a line that's going up. And what I might use that for is to signify a section where I feel like the energy might need to come up or the energy might need to come down, either by muting some instruments. This is more of an arrangement thing. We see this a lot on the production side of things, people using this for music production specifically to make kind of fun notes and creative notes to be able to signify areas that might need more energy, less energy, or anything else that you can think of. Obviously, we don't need that note here now for this session, but let's jump back over now to the mix perspective. So the artist doesn't have to do anything at this point to let you know. You're going to receive an email to say, hey, there's some feedback on this project that the artist left, and we'll let you jump right back in to do those changes. But as you'll see here in a second, we are currently still online, so you're going to see that this feedback is just updated in real time on our mixing end. And while the client and artist is still here on their own dashboard, we're going to make those changes and upload a second mix. All right, so now we are back as the mix engineer. From our perspective, you can see here that Kristen is still logged into the project on her end, and we're going to address some of these notes, upload a second mix for her to check out, and hopefully finish this project up. So while Kristen is here, I'm going to go ahead and just reply. She had asked a question if we think that this sounds better without the vocal chop. I do think it sounds better. Just going to reply to that. Kristen will, of course, see that in real time on her end as well. And she had asked if we can bring up the volume of the piano. And I'm going to say, shipping it in mix 2. All right, so let's say that we just bounced out mix 2 from Pro Tools, and it's now time for us to drop that in. We this time are going to use the add track function just to change things up a little bit. I have mix 2 already ready to go. I'm going to drag that in, and it's going to load mix 2 into here. You can see on the left that Notetracks has some organizational tools. Now, maybe this is just my paranoia from years of working in audio. Maybe you can relate. I like to be as clear as possible when sending mixes back and forth with folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag this new mix 2 with a green tag, and I'm going to put a red tag on the mix 1, just to differentiate them a little bit. And then the second thing that I want to do is here at the top, there is this number sign or pound sign to sort by track order. So we just added mix 2 in there. I like to view mixes in reverse chronological order. So I'm going to hit that button, and what it's going to do is it's going to reverse the order of the mixes. So now our mix 2, this track number 2, is going to show up here at the top. And the artist, Kristen, can now see that we've uploaded a second mix and can start listening to it and give us feedback in real time. A couple other things I want to draw attention to before we finish this project and send it back to Kristen for a final review are, first of all, this loop tool. I had mentioned it at the very beginning of this video, but I think now is probably a good time to talk about it. I know sometimes when you're listening to a mix in the morning, or an artist comes back to a mix in the morning, things can sound different, right? You get fresh ears, and it's easier to hear some things that you might have missed before. So with the loop tool, you can select just a part of the song and listen to it on loop to be able to really pinpoint places that need precise feedback or need some more attention. So I think that's a really cool feature to have. And then also, there are some things to be able to basically work with Notetracks offline. So we know some engineers don't like to work kind of bouncing between their web browser and going into Pro Tools. So you can actually download all of the comments that are in here straight to your computer, and then you can reference the time codes and the contents of those comments right there in your notepad on your computer while you're working in Pro Tools or whatever DAW you're in. And the second thing is on kind of the artist side of things, the artist also has the ability to download these different mixes or different files here from Notetracks so that they can listen, on their phone or listen on their computer, studio monitors, whatever it might be, to be able to get a better feel before they jump back here in to give you feedback. Sometimes you got to check the mix in the car to make sure that it's done. All right, so now that we have finished everything up, I don't see any notes from Kristen about that sub bass that we had referenced there in the chorus in our original note. So I'm going to assume that all of that is totally fine. Last thing to do is going to be to share this project with Kristen. Now, as I mentioned before, Kristen's getting those updates right in real time because she is currently logged on and can see me making comments and all that sort of thing. But I also want to be able to get her manager in the loop with what's going on as we finish up this song. So to invite her manager, I'm actually just going to copy this link and change the editing permissions of the link as well to give Kristen's manager the same level of permissions that she has here in this track. So I'm going to copy the link and send it over via email so that her manager can hop in. If you ever have any questions for us, you can always message us down here while you're logged in with our intercom chatbot or by reaching out to support@notetracks.com. Thanks so much for joining me today as I went through how to use Notetracks as a mixing or mastering engineer, and I hope Notetracks can help speed up your workflow.